Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force, and today we're going to be taking a look at some more Darkest Dungeons. Specifically, I'm going to be taking you through a no healer high crit dark run that rewards massive amounts of gold, and it just has been just an incredible success for me. I've got some really good things to say about this build. So first off, I saw this build a couple of days ago on Reddit. I saw a couple of people suggesting it. You know, I don't really like, it seems like so many people are going the stall route, in which you're getting down to one enemy and then you're just spam stunning him to relieve stress and to heal up your characters. Well, they basically decided, forget that, and instead of healing, let's just try to kill things before they can deal a lot of damage to us. And that's exactly what this build does. So let me take you through the fundamentals of this build, and I'm just showing you a pre-recorded run. This is one of like 20 runs that I've done over the past morning. This exact build, it's so successful. So it involves having a Jester, a Highwayman, and 2 Hellions in the front. And the concept behind the build, the bare bones basics, is we're relying on huge crits to not only kill the opponents fast, but to manage our stress, because every time you get a crit, you're going to relieve stress of your team. And then also with low light levels, adding to our crit, making it more likely that we get those crits, and adding to our loot. These are just very, very successful runs, and I'm constantly sitting at like 40 to 50,000 gold, even with consistently buying trinkets. Now, what I want to say is that this particular build relies very, very heavily on having leveled up characters and good trinkets. Basically, you need to make sure, well, I'm going to run through the specifics of everything. In fact, why don't we get started right now? So for the Hellions, both Hellions have the exact same 4 abilities. Wicked Hack as a close range, a single target damage dealer with a high crit chance. Iron Swan, which is used to take out high priority targets in the back, such as anyone who increases your stress levels, like those damn skeletons that throw goblets in your faces. If it bleeds, is our bleed ability that will be used on bosses or high health targets like this one that we're facing off right now. It's nice to get a bleed off on them. Specifically bosses, you're basically spamming bleeds if you can. And then our major attack, which is Breakthrough. So Breakthrough is the ability that hits multiple targets. In fact, the 3 damage dealers in this lineup all have the ability to hit 3 targets. And the general idea with this is that when you're hitting 3 targets, when they've got something like that, your chance to hit is less than if you're using a single target ability. But the Jester is really sort of the thing that holds this all together, because we spam one ability, which is Battle Ballad. That's it. You basically spam that every single fight. And Battle Ballad, especially once you level it up, its base ability increases your accuracy and your crit chance. But once it gets leveled up to level 3+, you're going to get, starting at level 2, you start to get an increase to speed. So this is part of the reason why this build works as well. So we've got these 3 DPS dealers that can hit 3 targets at once. With Battle Ballad, we increase our accuracy to those abilities which typically aren't that accurate, and that makes them hit a lot more reliably. Battle Ballad also increases their crit. And then finally, that speed increase means you're getting a lot more attacks than the opposition. So because you're getting a ton of plus speed to your entire party, they're going to be attacking much more frequently than the enemies. And this also helps offset the fact that we don't have a healer. This is basically going to be like, okay, so we don't have a healer, not a huge deal because we're attacking so much more frequently, and then we're also relying on the camping aspect of this game to get that healing as well, and to relieve any spikes in stress that we may come across. A lot of times you're able to manage your stress because we're critting so often. A lot of times you're able to manage your stress and keep it relatively low, but if it does start to get high, essentially what you can do is just take care of that in a campfire. Now this particular run, this is what I think is so amazing here. This is a long run that you're watching right now. So this is a double campfire run with no healer. And I'll just tell you right now, in case you're wondering and you don't want to skip to the end of the video yet, we don't lose anybody. In fact, we end up coming out of this with almost no stress and all of our characters almost at full health because we're properly utilizing campfires and everything like that. So yeah, the Hellions, you use Wicked Hack. Again, that's a single target close damage dealer. Iron Swan for the high priority back targets if it bleeds to bleed high health people. And then Breakthrough as our triple enemy hitter. It hits the front 3. Now, in terms of their trinkets, again, I said levels and trinkets are very important. So for trinkets, on the front Hellion, we're using the best damage trinket we can find plus a dodge trinket. The second in-row Hellion is going to be using 2 high damage trinkets, so we're looking for damage and crit, anything that does that. So this is going to be me hitting a high priority back target right there with the Iron Swan. That's why it's very important to get rid of those high stress characters that are typically in the back of these parties. Now for the Highwayman, he is going to be using Wicked Slice, which is just going to be a close range sort of stab attack. Pistol Shot, which he can shoot anyone at any distance with, which is nice, and people in the further back areas. Helps you take them out. Again, sort of like what Iron Swan is to the Hellions. Grape Shot Blast is the triple target hit for the Highwaymen, and then we've got Open Vein as our bleed ability. And then for him, he is just using the best damage trinkets that you can find. I've managed to get, because I make so much money with this build, and because I've been able to clear these dungeons very quickly, because that's another benefit of this type of build. Since you're not doing the stall strategy, it's not taking you forever to clear these dungeons. All right, so here we're at a campfire, so I'll talk a little bit of the camp skills. The big ones that you want for the Hellions are Sharpened Spear, and you want Clean Guns for the Highwaymen. And then for the Jester, things that relieve stress are very, very helpful. So for the Jester, I look at things like Mockery, Turn Back Time, and Every Rose Has Its Thorn. But the big things you really want to focus on are the Hellions want Sharpened Spear, it's going to increase their damage, and the Highwaymen wants Clean Guns, which that's going to increase his damage as well. I also pick up Gallows Humor on the Highwaymen. That helps relieve stress across the board. And then any of the extra spots use as stress relievers or healers. Just to get a little bit of extra healing, top characters off if need be. I'm pretty sure everyone has access to, I forget what it's called, but it's like a Band-Aid skill, which will heal someone for 10. So pick up that for those extra camping skill spots if you're not sure exactly what you want to get. All right, so we're going to continue to clear through here. Now, we've talked in detail about the Hellions and the Highwaymen, the abilities to pick. Now for the Jester, the really only thing that you absolutely positively need, and the most important thing that holds this entire build together, is that Battle Ballad. So just to reiterate, it's going to, at its base level, it's going to increase crit and accuracy. But once you get up to levels 2+, you're going to get that boon to speed, which once more means you're getting so many extra attacks on your opponents, which helps offset the fact that you don't have a healer. Besides Battle Ballad, I also pick up Inspiring Tune, although a lot of times you're not using it. Inspiring Tune is a stress relief for your entire party, but generally I find it better to just use Battle Ballad. The extra crit chance that my other 3 characters are getting means that there's going to be stress relief coming once they crit anyways. So it just makes more sense to give them that extra speed, that extra crit, that extra accuracy, and rely on them dealing crit damage to knock down my party stress. And then for the situations where you get knocked out of position, when you get surprised or whatever, I also pick up some damage abilities for the Jester, including Slice Off and Harvest. So that's going to be a single target and a multi-target bleed. And for his trinkets, he is just focused on, right now I've got him equipped with 2 dodge and speed trinkets. So the increased speed means he's going to get the opportunity to cast Battle Ballad much more frequently. And then with the dodge, it makes it so that he rarely gets hit. There's a lot of runs that I'll go on, not this particular run, but in many runs, he will honestly never get hit because his dodge is so high. You can see right now he's up to 50 dodge at the moment. And I believe this is before I leveled them up. Yeah, because I can level them up to weapons and armor 5. I just hadn't done this at this run. And look, actually, it's so funny. I just mentioned the Jester never getting hit as he is clearly being hit right here. So a few important things that I need you to know before you just pick up level 0 recruits here and try to do a no healer run. It really doesn't work early on. The thing that allows this to happen is high crit and high dodge chances. This is what allows this build to work. So once more, we're adding to our crit with the fact that we're doing a dark run and we're never using torches, okay? Another big part of that is coming from your trinkets, which you're just gonna have to acquire over time when you have a brand new save. You're not gonna have good dodge or good damage trinkets right away. It's gonna take some time. It also comes from your skill and your weapon and armor upgrades. So what I suggest doing is having an A team. When you start off a new save, try to get a roster of the 2 Hellions, Highwayman, and Jester. Also try to get a backup of the 2 Hellions, Highwayman, and Jester in case you run into any problems or there's any quirks that you just really can't deal with. And get used to doing this. Get used to having a full inventory with lots of stuff, but you not being sure what you want to get rid of and you actually having to dump valuables. That is how fruitful these runs are. These dark runs with no healers that are so quick, they're just so rewarding. It's absolutely insane, to be honest with you. Couple of tips when you're going into dungeons, especially on long dungeons. You want to bring medium and long dungeons, you want to bring at least like 3 shovels. What I typically do is I bring anywhere from 12 to 16 food, depending on the length. Sometimes I'd even go up to 20 food on the 2 campfire dungeons. And then anywhere between 2 and 4 shovels and maybe a single key. But that's it. You don't really need to bring anything else. Your inventory is going to fill up insanely quick as it is. So to just be aware. So back to what I was saying, you really can't do this at level 0. So what I would suggest is recruiting your Hellions, your Highwaymen, and your Jester, but then also picking up a couple of healers, like an Occultist or like a Vestal or whatever the heck they're called, I forgot. But pick up some healers, and you can level these guys up, and once you get them to level 1, you could probably start to try it, but specifically at level 2, if you get your characters to level 2 and then you fully upgrade their weapons and armor as far as it can go, and you use any of those trinkets that you found thus far, then you're going to be good to go. It's really, I do some variation of this build. Maybe like, so for example, I'll do like 1 Jester. I'll do the Jester, 1 Hellion, a Highwayman, and then a healer. And that's what I'll use to level these guys up. And then I'll have an A team and a B team so that I can put them through a rotation in case they get high stress levels. Because it's not as easy to maintain low stress from just attacking when you're not using your Jester's battle Ballad constantly. And early on, specifically before you get to level 2 battle Ballad, when you get that speed boost, because you at the start, level 1 battle Ballad doesn't boost your speed, it's just crit and accuracy. But once you get it to level 2 plus, then you can start using him to spam it constantly. But when I'm leveling up the Jester, I'm typically just using him in like a 3rd position as an attacker, so that's why we've got things like Slice Off and Harvest. So we'll do those 3, and then we'll just get whatever healer, it doesn't matter. He's basically a throwaway. Whatever healer that you use, don't focus on him too much, because you're just using him to boost these guys up to a high enough level so that their armor, weapons, and skills can get upgraded to level 2 plus so that they can actually effectively do this. And here we are once again in a situation where we've got too much stuff and we have to choose to get rid of something. We've got the valuables to upgrade our town. And speaking of that, let me talk to you a little bit about how you should be focusing on the town stuff. So at the very, very beginning of a save, start on your coach. You want to get your coach because you want to get as many recruits coming every single week as possible. And here's my second and final campfire here for the run. And we're just going to boost these guys up. We're going to give them their buffs and top off anyone with healers. So we're going to start off by upgrading our coach to get as many recruits going as possible so you can search for your Hellions, Highwaymen, Jesters, and then any spot healers that you'll need to level those groups up. And then after that, you need to 100% focus your town upgrades on the guild, which will level up your character skills, the blacksmith, which will level up weapons and armor, and then the wagon. And the wagon's very important, and we haven't talked about it much yet, but the wagon's very important because that is where you're going to get your high-end rarity trinkets that just deal that are just massively strong. I just picked up a legendary bracer. I actually have 2 of them right now. On this run, you're only seeing 1, but I've got 2 legendary bracers right now. I forget the exact stats, but I think it's like plus 20% damage, plus 5% crit, and then it's also minus 6% accuracy. But it actually ends up working out fine because that is such a huge damage and crit boost, and the accuracy debuff is offset by our Jester. It's really crazy. This, I mean, I can't believe I'm making a 20-minute video just talking about this build, but the truth is, there's so much to talk about, so much to try to explain, and then also, I just wanted you guys to see a run, and so that you knew it wasn't a fluke, so you weren't sitting there being like, okay, Force, good job, you can run through a short dungeon with no healer. No, this is a long dungeon. This is the longest type of dungeon you will come across in this game with 2 times campfires. But as you can see, look at this, we're practically at the end of it now, and our guys are fine. Their stress is like nothing. They're healed up fully, and we blow up groups. In fact, I wonder what this, I don't remember how I end up dispatching of this group. I'm gonna laugh though if it's like with a single crit or something. And that'll happen sometimes. You'll get a group of 3. There it is. You see what I'm talking about? So you just get so many buffs. Oh, so many buffs. All right, so let's just do a quick recap of what you need, what you should be looking for. So once again, 2 Hellions, Wicked Hack, Iron Swan, if it bleeds, Breakthrough. For a campfire skill, the most important thing for the Hellions is the Sharpened Spear, which adds to your crit. And then for Trinkets, you want double damage for the second in line and damage/dodge for the front line, because he's going to be taking attacks more frequently. Highwayman using Wicked Slice, Pistol Shot, Grape Shot Blast, Open Vein. Most important camping skills for him are Clean Guns and Gallows Humor. And then he is looking ideally for any plus damage and plus crit trinkets, plus speed. Just look for plus damage and plus crit. That's really all you care about. And then the Jester. Battle Ballad is basically all you need to know, but for off skills, I also use Inspiring Tune, Slice Off, and Harvest. And then for camping skills, the de-stressors, which include Mockery, Turn Back Time, and Every Rose has its Thorn. And then for his 4th slot, I think I just use a heal thing, basically. And then for his trinkets, he wants Dodge primarily. And on him at the moment, I have trinkets that add to Dodge and Speed, which I really like that bonus Speed, because that gets him casting Battle Ballad much more quickly. And that's basically that. We're coming up to the end of the run right now. I think we only have another room to clear. Here I am trying to figure out, oh boy, no, I've got too many, I've got too much money in my inventory. Let me clear some spots. So here we go, opening up with Battle Ballad. Let's see how this last fight goes. We're gonna Iron Swan that guy in the back, 39 crit, goodbye. And then from here on out, we just go with the front 3 killers, because there's only 3 people left. So that's gonna be, actually, do I actually take him out instead of Grape Shot Blast? Oh, that's surprising. I decided to take him out. Although I guess because we're coming up on the end of the dungeon, my thought process was probably physical damage doesn't matter right now. It's stress damage that matters, and I don't want to end the dungeon with high stress, because the other cool thing about this is that once I'm done this, I can just go straight into another dungeon. There's no sticking these guys up in the church so that they can pray away their stress. There's no need for that. If you manage your stress with these high crit levels, then you're just ending the dungeon and you're going straight into another one. And once you see the obscene amounts of gold that I'm walking away with here, you're going to be like, oh, okay, so I guess. So here we go. We have successfully completed the dungeon. And yeah, it's so crazy. I think I decided to clear through a couple more rooms just to check stuff, but that's that. And massive amounts of gold are incoming. So that is a look at the no healer, high crit, dark run for huge amounts of gold. And I think it's a lot more fun than the stall strategy too. I think that's the other thing. I didn't like just sitting around chain stunning a character to top off my guys with heals. And I think the fact that you can do a no heal run in this game is hilarious and amazing. So I'm going to keep playing around with this build. I'll give you guys some updates as time goes on. I'm also going to try some other builds, because this like I said, I'm always sitting at like 50k plus gold. It's kind of absurd. So I'm in the position where I'm going to use the rest of my roster to try out some other builds. And once I do that, I'll give you guys some updates and maybe show you some other things that I find to be effective or strong. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Have a great afternoon, guys. I'll see you soon for more Darkest Dungeon and other great stuff here on the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.